Dude, I was the victim of a pretty good micro prank, I would argue. I went to the wedding reception lunch for a very dear friend. Anyway, their grandmother came from Lebanon, and I had met her in Lebanon one time, like, a decade or so ago. I was like, oh, we've met before, like in Lebanon, and she maybe couldn't fully understand, and the dad starts explaining to the grandmother what I was saying, and he slid in a very funny prank, in my opinion. So he's speaking to her in Arabic, and he's being like, Allah, whatever, and then being like, Allah, not very smart, Allah, like going hard, like 4 or 5 like sentences in Arabic, then like not good looking.
That's funny.
That's pretty good. Welcome back to Oops the Podcast.
All right, lots to unpack here.
I got something for you.
Please. Julio, I don't know where you came up with that idea.
Dude, this guy was a huge turkey.
What is this, Japan? Which is
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I hadn't told you about it.
No, and I also just assumed you were saving it for the pod if you were going to tell me,
Yeah.
which of course you were.
Oh,
But-
yeah. Hey, good morning. It's Oops the Podcast. I'm Francis Ellis, joined by Giulio Gallerati. Hi, Giulio.
Hello, Francis. Hello,
Hi.
boys.
Hi, Ryan.
Good morning.
Looking fresh as a daisy. Did you get a haircut?
Recently.
Nice.
Thank
It's
you.
very cute.
And there's Chris.
Oh, hey there.
Looking good.
Thank
Looking
you.
nice.
Thank you.
Got sweet haircut. Very cool.
Thank you.
What do you call that kind of a haircut?
A taper.
A taper.
It's new to me as well.
Taper. I hardly know her. There's Chris, and we are Oops Podcast. Giulio, what's happening with you, man?
Well, dude, let me ask you this. I was thinking about this earlier. Summer is upon us,
It's upon us.
and I'm wondering what you are looking forward to this summer.
I guess I'm looking forward to a little bit of a breather. I've been working a lot, and I've worked so much that I want to retire. I mean it.
Yeah.
I mean it. I've worked so much that I've come upon the realization that I don't need as much money as I thought I did.
That's great.
Because I don't like working this much. And I have saved a bunch of money, and I don't see the point.
So you've saved. You just have a bunch of like extra money.
Do you want me to tell you how much money I've saved?
In what span of time? First of all.
Over the last 5 months,
Sure.
I've saved the most money I've ever had.
The last 5 months.
Yeah.
That's great,
Since
dude.
the start of the year.
That's great.
It's not as great as you would have thought. It
What-
sounds great, and it's very easy to say, yeah, that's great, and I would have thought how great that would be. But I don't know what to do with it, and I don't even see the point anymore.
Bro, don't do anything. You're not a rapper, bro. Just because it's sitting there doesn't mean you need to do something with it. You don't have to buy a goldfish or whatever, or thousands of goldfish. I guess.
I see. No, I don't really get what I thought it would mean something, and it means nothing.
Dude, it's rainy day cash, and now as you go around and swipe, as you're frolicking around on Saturday afternoon, you don't have to feel stressed about it.
Is it really uncouth for me to have told you how much money I saved?
Like, no. It's good because it's like a two-way street, because Francis is like nosy about money, but it's okay if you are willing to share things.
Yeah, I am nosy about money, but you know what? I think that people need to destigmatize money.
Yes.
I think we
please.
need to destigmatize money. Everyone says, "Oh, do you mind if I ask how much you pay in rent?" Why? I mind if your reaction is, "Holy shit." If you then go,
like,
"What the fuck? You're getting face fucked." Then yeah, I mind. If you're just going to be a normal person like, "Wow, that's a good deal," or like, "Oh, that's great. That makes sense for what you have here." Then fine. Don't start asking me, "Well, how do you and your wife split it?" or "What percentage of your annual income is that?" or "Haven't you considered that maybe if you started saving more money, you'd worry less about the rent?" I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't
yeah.
advise me. But I think that people, I don't know. I look, you got to have some judgment about it, right?
Yeah.
If someone is holding their hands out and saying, "Please, I need some soup today," don't ask them, do you mind if I ask how much you pay in rent? Or like, how much are you getting paid on a daily basis?
I wonder what
That's
people's
rude. Obviously, he doesn't want to talk about it.
what do you think people's drawbacks are for sharing that sort of information?
Well, let me give you an extreme example. I have friends, as you know, from school who were the children of billionaires. And I think that I remember distinctly one of them, very dear friend of mine, we didn't know until like halfway through freshman year that his family had that much money. And once we knew, I would say less me, but some of my other friends, it changed the way that they viewed him.
Like they respected him more, or they wanted him to pay more? Or
It was more like they were in awe of
Mhm.
him. And maybe it changed the way that they acted towards him.
Mhm.
Maybe they started to have ideas about, I don't know. Again, this may not be true at all, but
They're like, I can cash in on this.
yeah, exactly. Like he becomes a cash
get on the
cow.
private jet.
What can you
Get the
benefit?
invite to the summer home.
Right. Or like, why are we splitting this dinner bill?
Yeah.
You've got daddy's credit card with no limit on it. And that sucks. That sucks in a big way.
I think people are also so stressed out about like getting analyzed. If you're like, oh, like how much do you pay for your apartment? And you're like, this much. All of it, like, there's a scenario where the person who asked you is like, okay, well, that makes sense because he probably makes this much where he works, and then if he makes that much, then he pays this much, and
Yeah.
she probably pays that. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that. I think that like worries people.
I get that too.
Yeah.
I get that too. Yeah, you can really start to try to paint a massive picture of the person based on
Right.
a very small
Solving the
fact.
puzzle of their current state in life.
Right. But I've saved all this money and I'm done with my. Well, actually, that's not true. I'm not quite done with my tour. I have one more date, Pittsburgh City Winery. That's June 8th and 9th. Hope to see you there. FrancisEllis.com for tickets.
Oh yeah. Well, dude. So what?
Not just throwing in plugs
Good. You should.
mid-episode.
Dude, no, you should. We should be throwing our plugs in earlier in the episodes anyway, bro.
Fair point.
Doesn't everybody do that?
Yeah, they like usually do it up top.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe that should be our new thing.
Okay.
And we can look at the chart here. Once we started plugging our dates at the beginning. But dude, so that's nice. You'll be able to sort of have a nice summer, spend cash, not have to worry about it, do all sorts of shit. Now, does part of you ever worry during the summer being like, oh, I've sort of taken my eye off the ball. I've had so much fun this summer. I'm going to ruin my entire professional life.
I cannot wait for that to happen. You know why? Because I have gone so hard that I am thinking that I don't want to work anymore at all. And I need to get to a point where I'm bored. I want to get bored. I want to get to a point now where I'm desperate to work and desperate to be at work and to create things and get that pipeline flowing again, because right now I'm empty.
Yeah.
Truly empty. And I don't even want to. I don't know what I want. I've been napping for long periods of time. I feel like I'm sick or something.
Guys, for context, and if I overshare here,
No, this is fine. Yeah.
but Francis had a unusually taxing week last week
it's known
for anyone's standards.
Yeah, it's known that I'm on Most Dangerous Game Show, and I'll just say that it was very hard. And when it ended, I didn't get to just come home. I had to fly directly from that to DC, and then drive to West Virginia to perform
Jesus
at
fucking
a casino with Lil Sasquatch. And then after that, we went out with all the fans who came and gambled until late in the evening.
I bumped into him on Friday. He was telling me a little bit about that gig.
He didn't know that I wasn't coming back with him.
Yeah, he mentioned that.
We really were not good about planning our travel. And it was part of that was because I could not communicate with him. I was in the wild. And of course, I am, of the two of us, the planner, and he thought, well, maybe I'll just rent a car. And he tried, and they wouldn't let him because he's under 25. And so then he had to get a zip car and drive.
Oh God, that must have been like extremely expensive.
I think it might have been. Plus he really ran into some bad traffic. I think it took him 8 hours to get down there and 8 hours to get back without me.
Yeah.
But there was a funny moment where, because after the show on Saturday, I went to my sister's place in D.C., and he was driving us, and I said, I'm going to go to her place for the weekend. And he didn't know I wasn't coming all the way back with him.
He told me that.
And then we stopped at this town called Fredericksburg in Maryland, I think, or maybe Virginia. And I said, oh, you can just let me off here. And he goes, oh, my God, you're getting out here? I thought we had another hour and a half together. It's like half an hour into the drive.
Dude, it was so interesting to hear him yearn for your companionship like that. He just seems like a guy who sort of like is fine with everybody living their own lives and him doing specifically what he wants to do, whether or not there are people involved. So for him to be like, dude, Francis got out like right at the beginning of the drive. I'm like, oh, dude, that's so cute. Like,
I know. Well, it breaks my heart.
Francis, yeah.
It breaks my heart. But I guess it means we do have a good time together, which I was happy about.
It's great.
The shows, man, I'll tell you, man, that show, they had us in their event center.
I heard it was like
holds 1,200 people.
Venue, yeah.
And we had 100 people. And when you have 100 out of 1,200 seats filled, it looks empty. It was very sparsely attended.
Dude.
We had a great time. Show was great. Met a lot of great people. Shout out to all the great people who came out. Wonderful tall couple. The guy was like 6'8", and his wife was 6'2" or 3". They're stunning couple. I don't know. I like really tall people.
You like a nice big couple.
I like a nice tall couple. I do.
You do.
It just makes me excited. I wanna hold their children. Maybe I need another person to help hold their children. And I just want to see how that family looks in 10 years.
Totally. Well, dude, I had like sort of an interesting weekend. I went to the Bachelor party. Remember, I had mentioned.
You've been all over.
Well, I talked about this on the pod last week about how I needed to go to this Bachelor party in Montreal. Had a nice time. I'd never been to Montreal. I had a couple of interesting takeaways from it. We went to the casino, and the casino was just filled with young people who like wouldn't be able to go to a casino maybe either in America, or maybe that's just like a hangout there for people who are 18 also. And the place was just filled with people drinking like alcoholic Shirley Temples.
Oh.
No, I'm not even joking, like a pink drink with a cherry in it. And
because these people are new to drinking,
I guess. And dude, like the type of thing where like little kids were fucking with me. Like I'd walk by somebody, he'd be like, have a good night, dude. And I'm like, dude, I will kill you, dude.
That must have made you
that was so annoying. Tap me on the shoulder. Yeah. And I was like, oh, God. And then, like, we were asking the waitress where we should go, like, at this dinner we went to. And she was like, well, she's like, you should probably, like, avoid the younger part of town. It's just, like, people vomiting all over the place. And I'm like, dude, I fully support the 21 and over drinking age.
Wow.
That was my takeaway.
Wow.
Like, I have no, like, literally for many, many, many years, oh, you can die for your country, but you can't drink. Correct. Correct.
Yeah, those kids should die.
No, I'm just saying, like, that was always the argument. Like, you know, you can be in a war, but you can't drink. And, like, after just seeing all these blasted children, dude, I'm like, I mean, maybe I'm just getting old now. But, dude, I was like, 21 and over is the way to go, very clearly.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to interact with those kids. I guess my question is to you, when that kid comes up and he fucks with you like that and he thinks he's hot shit, what can you do to put him in his place? What can you do that doesn't scream, I'm an old man, you know, they're going to all laugh at me in some kind of a TikTok trend or something?
Yeah, I think the move is like if they're being disrespectful, I think you just completely ignore them.
Yeah, but dude, I think that they're going to expect you to be an older man and not come up with anything clever or cutting, so that if you do, you might really catch them on their heels.
Yeah, but then, dude, it would have to be so good, because otherwise they'd be like, act like you're being like old and weird, and that is like ineffective.
Could you assault them? What if you just pinned a kid up against the wall?
I don't hate that.
Maybe don't choke them or anything
Grab
like
him
that.
by the shirt and push him up against the wall.
Yeah, they're gonna be scared.
They're gonna be scared.
His cheeks are gonna turn red.
He might cry.
Yes, and then you've won. Do you see
Cry.
what I'm saying?
Cry.
Yeah.
Cry.
Yes, that's so good. We should do this. Hey man, what are you doing? His lip starts to
Sorry, I
quiver.
was just kidding.
Yeah, just screwing around. It was a prank.
Give him $20 of chips. You hope you learned your lesson today, son.
I wouldn't go that far. I'm not
Just
giving
$20.
that kid money. I'm trying to think of what I would do. I think that if he taps you on the shoulder, you might have the right to do something physical.
I don't hate this. I don't hate this.
I think
take.
you could do something that makes him realize he screwed with the wrong guy and that you're unhinged. And
I like that.
he needs to learn the lesson that not everybody can be touched in public.
Yeah, I think that's good.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I do.
Or what if you circled back later and then screwed with him?
Doesn't feel worth it.
I don't know, man.
I've
Sometimes you just can't let things go.
That's true.
Sometimes you have to let these kids know, man.
Sometimes you got to give it to them.
In Canada, if someone grabs your arm or they push you, even without you falling down, it's enough where you can charge somebody for assault. So maybe you call the police on him.
Oh, if he touched me
Just
at
him
all?
touching you
It's
with a little
assault.
bit of a push, you can get him arrested.
Huh.
Well,
That
that'll take back pushing him up against the wall.
That seems a lot. It seems like a fire we can put out ourselves, Ryan. Not to mention the police in Canada ride horseback. Watching one of those clodhoppers come into the casino. I don't know. Seems like a lot.
I
lot
think
of
that's enough.
Yeah.
procession.
All right, that's good to know. Dude, I ate so much food in that 24-hour period that I ruined my summer.
Oh. Well, that can't be.
Like not obviously not specifically, but like heavy food all day long. Like I went to lunch by myself. I got there a little early, and I had a thing of poutine because I was like, oh, I'm in Montreal. I have to have that.
Mm-hmm.
I ate the whole thing because I was hungry from traveling and shit. Then I had a big beer too.
Oh, wow.
Which is just like two things I don't normally do. Obviously, don't normally eat poutine, but like the daytime beer thing, like that made me need an insanely long nap. I woke up from it, went to this extravagant dinner that was amazing, but like then ate so much that like I could drink as much as I want and not even feel it.
Wow.
Like that, like wedding drunk. And granted, I didn't drink an insane amount. I probably had like 4 or 5 drinks, but like didn't feel it. And then had to wake up early to fly back to New York and like had a food hangover. Like I didn't sleep enough to digest all the food.
Oh, no.
I felt like shit, dude.
That's not good.
I know, not good.
That's not good. I've had a hard time controlling myself recently from an eating and drinking perspective, too. And we are heading into summer, Julio. So we need to start putting the brakes on a little bit.
I'll tell you what, man. I think that I've accepted and I'm coming to terms with the fact that it's going to be a big boy summer for me, dude.
Big boy summer.
And you know what? Woo! I don't give a shit. I obviously do, but I'm saying that I don't. And as I say this, I mean it. There will be a moment at some point where I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm sad. And perhaps I begin to weep like that young child who I pinned against the wall. But, dude, right now.
Let's go to Montreal and just beat up the kids. I think that's what we do, man.
Dude, that's a really fun, like, I don't know what that movie would be called, but like a retribution movie where like you get back at all the drunken kids by murdering them all.
Yes.
That'd be kind of fun.
I do like that. A whole, like a kung fu movie where we just kill children.
Yeah. Like an annoying kid starts throwing shit at you and you just fucking pull out a silenced pistol and shoot him in the head. Pew! 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 Any of you other motherfuckers want it?
Yeah, it could be campy, but it doesn't have to be campy. It could
Yeah,
also be realistic.
Yes. Dude, I love it. But anyway, bro, yeah. I'm going to be rocking big boy, chubby boy summer, shirt off, feeling confident.
Nice.
And, if anybody has anything to say about it, you'll be too scared to say it to my face anyway. So you can all fuck yourselves. And I'm going to be out here milky and ready to fucking swim around. Dude.
Nice.
Ready to do the dead man's float better than your
Nice.
skinny ass.
Buddy, I love it. I love it. I like that.
Dude, I gotta be honest, my allergies are crushing me right now.
Yeah.
And I don't typically get allergy related things. So when it hits me harder because I'm not used to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, dude, this wake is feeling really, really good on it.
A tonic for the allergies.
Well, there's lemon, cayenne in it, so it's like a little spicy. And the blood orange, the citrus just immediately attacks the allergic web.
I gotta say, I think this is my favorite one. I really like the wake a lot.
Yeah, currently I'm really enjoying it too.
And it's got just a touch of caffeine in there to kind of keep you going, but nothing that's gonna make you crash.
Yeah.
It's from the green tea extract. Kick of cayenne. It's got a nice little spice. It lets you know it's there.
Agreed.
Like a really good ginger ale.
It's a good drink. And I also like how on the Hangover can the hand is emerging from the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Yeah, we're back.
Rise from your grave.
You thought you'd buried me.
If anybody knows that reference that I just did with the rise from your grave, I'll be very impressed. I doubt that anybody will, but if you do, shoot me a message on it. But dude, Hangobi, absolutely delicious. The Essential is now fully back in stock. If you guys like that one, I would argue that is the most sort of like, it packs the hardest punch potentially, the Essential, I would argue.
Mm-hmm.
But all the flavors are delicious. I love the calm. Go to hangobi.com, use promo code OOPSI'mHung to get 30% off of your order. And if you see one in a store, grab it as well. We've been hearing that people have been seeing it all over the place in bodegas and convenience stores. It's a solid drink. Give it a try. We think you'll like it. Hangobi.com, OOPSI'mHung.
I tweeted yesterday that I'm giving up on fitness.
Really?
Yep. I'm retiring because I haven't been working out much lately at all. And I just got to a point where now working out seems like a nightmare to me. And I used to love it.
Yeah.
I used to really look forward to it and it made me happy. And now I'd rather just not.
What do you attribute it to?
I think it's just being away from it.
Is
I
it
wasn't
being
able
away,
to.
period?
Hmm?
Is like the fact that you've been traveling so much potentially contributing or no?
Yeah, I think I broke my habits,
Mm-hmm.
which were to try to really work out at least 3 times a week. And I went a long period without working out, a week or two. And I kind of thought, wow, I don't really know why I do this. And believe me, I'm feeling the negative effects of it. I mean, it really impacts me poorly.
Yeah, just like you don't sleep well.
I am down. I feel stagnant. I don't like myself. I don't like the way that I look. I don't sleep well. And I don't want to do anything is the biggest thing. I don't want to do work or really anything. I don't want to be social. I just want to kind of nap or be quiet on the couch.
Bro, just remember in the bank.
Let's
Let's fucking go.
go.
That's something to feel good about.
I think maybe I need to spend it all so that I have a reason to get going again.
Don't do it, dude. Don't do it.
There's some watches.
No,
That I
baby.
got my eye on.
Oh, baby.
No, but I'm not going to spend it.
Dude, as the other watch people that I know say, they're like, oh, it's an investment. It's an investment.
Yeah, that's-
appreciates in value.
That is it's people say the same thing about wine. They don't, you know what I mean? I don't know that the only way that those things are actually an investment is if you just don't even take them out of the packages.
Even with, I think with watches, don't they really actually appreciate in value?
Who knows? You never know. You never know with these things.
Yeah.
If you time it right, yeah. But it could be that in a year or two,
Did you do that on purpose? If you time it right?
in terms of the watches,
Yeah.
no, I did not.
Very good. They both got it immediately, and I was like,
yeah.
ah.
I think but you can't time a recession. You can't time a period where people have meaningless cash to blow.
Which is why, dude, it's good to have the reserves.
Yeah.
Cash.
Right.
I love it, dude. Bro, wait, can I ask you a question? Have you ever flown into the Montreal airport? In or out of it?
I don't think so.
Maybe
Maybe I have, actually. Yes, I think I have.
I
It's
know.
very international, isn't it?
Yeah, like kind of.
It's a jumping off point for Europe. A lot
That
of
makes
people
sense,
fly
yeah.
to there to then go to Europe.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I guess the flight to the U.S., it was like the domestic terminal, so I didn't really get to see what the deal was with the international side. It may have been much more busy, but arriving and departing, I've never been in such a big airport with so few people in it. And I wonder if it's specific to the time of year or something, but it was pretty nice up there. Like, I'd imagine it would be sort of a busy time, but there was nobody in the airport, dude, and it was massive.
Mm.
Like, you know the way like the Detroit airport is massive? It like felt similar, but the Detroit felt even busier.
Mm.
So anyway, I thought that there was a lot of big indoor space, which I thought was interesting in general.
I recently flew through the Denver airport. and
It's a big one.
That is the biggest airport I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And this was an interesting thing. You know, I got there early. I have TSA pre-check and clear, like any self-respecting traveler. And the line, even for those two, was quite long.
Interesting.
And I get to the front of the line, and the person who is directing people towards the clear kiosks, the eye checkers, is the broiest bro I've ever seen. He had flow that came out, you know, perfect lax bro flow. And he was like kind of muscular, young guy, must have been, I don't know, 19, 20. And he's working at the Denver airport directing people through TSA pre-check and clear. And he's saying, all right, who's next? TSA pre-check and clear, come this way. But he's such a bro. And I thought, what an odd job for a bro. What a strange, how did this bro end up here?
Oh, that's interesting.
He should be fixing pinball machines or serving crab cakes or something. I don't know why he's here at a government job.
Right this way, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. But he was good. Now, I have one other story for you.
Yeah.
On the flight out there, I got an upgrade to first class.
Let's go.
Yep. No big deal. And I'm with a bunch of my coworkers who are heading out for this project. And at one point, you know, I see a mother of 3 very young children go through the first class, and she goes into coach, and she sits down about 4 or 5 rows back from me, because I'm in the last row of first class. And you know me, I'm always looking for an opportunity to be a hero. And I say to myself, I'm going to go and offer that young mother who has a baby and then 2 toddlers my seat.
Wow.
I'm going to go offer her my first class seat. In exchange, I'll swap with her.
Wow.
And part of the reason was that I realized that her 2 other children had 2 coach seats. And there was very little likelihood that she would take me up on my offer because that would mean she'd be abandoning at least one of the children. So there was only 1 seat. So I felt safe in making this offer because I felt like she would turn it down and then I would get the credit without having to sacrifice my first class seat. But then I started to worry that she might just be a terrible mother. And that she would be willing to abandon one of her toddlers.
It was the perfect heist.
And that thought scared me so much because it was a long, 4-hour flight that I didn't make the gesture at all.
Oh, you dog. That flight is one of the worst flights because it's long enough that, like, the plane is usually shitty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like, if you're in comfort and you're, like, in the middle, that's, like, a terrible...
Totally.
But it's not long enough that, like, if you get upgraded to first, you're in Delta One.
Right.
You know? So what did you end up doing?
Nothing. I did nothing, but I did feel good about myself for having come up with the idea in the first place.
For even thinking that to begin
I
with?
thought nobody else in first class was willing. Nobody even noticed her. They didn't notice her plight at least I had the generosity of spirit to conceive of this plan to lighten her load.
Yeah, there's no shot I would have done that.
There was a TV show I watched once. I think it was the show Ed. Did you ever see that show Ed?
With the horse?
No.
Oh, with the coach guy?
You're thinking of Mr. Ed.
Oh, yeah.
Which was a show from the
No, I never
60s.
watched that.
This was a show. I think this guy was a lawyer, local small town lawyer or something. Can't remember exactly what it was, but it was pretty popular. Anyway, I think it was this show. There was an episode once where someone on the show was running for senator, governor, something like that, and they noticed a mother with a young baby crying and coach, and he's sitting in first class talking to his chief of staff or something, and he says something to her, and then he gets up and he goes and he gives his seat to that woman, and she goes up and he sits back down in first class, and the entire plane claps for him.
Nice.
I think that was where I got
That's
this
where you got
idea.
it from?
Yeah.
I think it's a nice thing to do. It's funny because sometimes that can backfire. Like there have been times where I'll be leaving a sporting event and I'll offer somebody my really good seats.
Oh.
Which is something that we used when I was a kid, like occasionally that would happen to us and we would be so happy. Like someone would ask my dad and my dad would be happy. We'd all be happy. We'd have the greatest time sitting in the front, for the rest of our time.
Right.
At whatever, a tennis tournament or whatever. But sometimes people get offended.
What?
Because they're you'll be like, hey, do you want me? I've had people say no a lot of times when I've been like, hey, I'm leaving. If you guys want these seats, like they're pretty good. And they'll be like, no, we're just fine where we are.
Well, here's the only time, this is what I don't understand. Are you yelling that up
No.
to the next balcony?
No.
See, you're not going deep enough.
No, I think so, but I think that I have actually gone deep before and tried to do it and was unsuccessful. And then another time just been in a common area where I don't even know where the person's sitting. And be like, there's no, like the likelihood that these people have seats better than this are low.
Yeah. I think the way this really is a successful thing is if you can convey to somebody who has seats that are 50 rows back from you, nosebleeds, another tier of the balcony.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to come down and live among the people who actually can see what's going on? Would you like to staunch the flow of blood from your nose and come sit among the living? You can have my seats. If you were to do that,
I do. I'm telling. I've done that, and it's not as high of a conversion rate as you would expect.
that's interesting.
Because it's like, why wouldn't there's some sort of, and it also depends on who you're asking. Like if it's like two people who are together, like if it's like a dad, I mean, though my dad was chill about it, I think that like there's a chance that the dad is going to be like proud. If it's like a dad and a,
Let's talk about that kind of pride for
Or a date.
second. What do you mean?
like if it's a date.
You're on a date.
No,
or
they're on a date.
Yeah. Interesting. These things puzzle me
Yeah.
because I understand that phenomenon of being too proud as to think, I'm not going to accept your charity, rich man. How dare you speak down to me and offer me your better seats?
Right.
But where is your pride? Do you have pride such that you would reject an advantage or an upgrade or something that is offered to you for the sake of principle?
Right. No, I mean, no, dude. Not I.
No, nor I. Nor I. I'm constantly looking for ways to improve my station. And if that comes from some gesture from, I don't know, someone with better seats or whatever,
Right.
why would I be so proud as to reject that?
Agreed. There has to be more to it than that. Like somehow there has to be a catch accepting tickets from you specifically that would make me reject it. And if I don't know who you are, why would I say no to that?
Right.
You're leaving.
Right.
You're like, hey, I have really good seats. Like you should.
My friend used to go on the Game Time app or when he got into the game and he'd print out his tickets and then he'd get into the game and he'd go on the Game Time app and he'd pull up the seat map of the seats that had not been sold, and he would see lower seats that had not been sold, and then he would go to those seats, write in what that seat number was, and then he would have tickets for those seats.
Oh, crazy. Did he have to have some level of like fine motor skills? Like, cause
Maybe.
I don't think I'd be able to pull that off.
He might have also done it digitally, but he's banking on the fact that the game has started, so therefore those tickets are going to go unsold,
Mm-hmm.
and he would improve his seat by about 50 rows.
Crazy. Now, so part of me would have anxiety that I was in the wrong seat, but what you can just do is when somebody else is like, "Oh, you're in my seat," you just move seats and don't leave the area again.
Not a bad play.
I think that's your only move there.
Gee, I've got my eye on a very cool heritage brand, a little throwback
Oh yeah?
for this summer.
Which one?
Penguin.
Dude, Penguin is a sick brand.
Penguin from Perry Ellis. Original Penguin, adorned and adored by masters of culture and sport to define itself as an American classic that knows how to have fun.
Dude, it's sick. I've noticed too a lot of like in tennis it's been popping up.
Yep.
A couple players, Mackie McDonald wears it, and so does Alija Tomljanovic. I don't know
Wow.
I think I said it right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and she was in the Netflix show.
Cool.
She was one of the characters.
I like her. I like her a lot. And I think I used to wear this when I used to wear Penguin when I was a kid. Cam Smith, winner of the British Open at the old course at St. Andrews. He's a big sort of ambassador for Penguin. Very cool guy with his mullet, Aussie.
Yeah, dude, it's a slick brand, and it's always cool when a brand has their sort of like second coming and emerges with a new personality and a new whatever. I think this is that moment for Penguin. It's very fresh. Definitely recommend you getting some. Right now, you can shop Original Penguin's Spring Summer 23 collection at originalpenguin.com and enjoy an original good time.
What do you think about adults that swear openly at sporting events, even if they're surrounded by children?
I think poorly of them.
So do I. So do I.
It's really insane.
What are you going to do when you bring your kids to a game and there's some drunken older man screaming, "Fuck you, ref"?
It's just like it's somehow related to road rage to me. Like you lose sight of how you should behave in the moment, and like act in a way that makes no sense.
Mhm.
You're cursing and like, why are you doing that in public?
Right.
It's crazy. Fuck you, Perkins.
Yeah, I know.
You're yelling at some guy who doesn't know who you are.
But if we invoke the culture of sporting events, let's say at their most base level, which is to me like a Liverpool soccer game, right? Where everybody at that stadium, there is a minimum level of commitment and dedication that is expected, that everybody who goes to that game has to know the words to "You'll Never Walk Alone." If you are sitting in any of the non-away fan section, you better buy in. You better be part of it. There's no half fans. There's no corporate, I'm entertaining clients by bringing them to this game. There probably is, but you don't notice it. It's not like going to Madison. It's not like going to a Rangers hockey game at Madison Square Garden where a third of the stadium is wearing light blue Brooks Brothers button-down shirts and, drinking a Goose Island IPA on a Tuesday night,
Right.
and is going to leave after the end of the second period.
Right.
It's not that.
Uh-huh.
It is bloodthirsty, religious, pious commitment to the team by everybody in that stadium. And I'm going to say that everybody there knows you're going to be swearing, you're going to be wishing death upon the referee, upon the opposing team. And I've told you the story of our cab driver that drove me and my dad to the stadium, right? When we went to...
Can you give me a refresher?
We went to Liverpool, Man City at Anfield, biggest game of the season a couple years ago. And he drove us all the way from Liverpool to our hotel in Manchester to drop our bags and then drove us back. So we were in the car with him for about an hour and a half. And he was singing the songs, telling the story of being raised as a child and going to the games. He's crying openly in the car while we're driving. And he told us about how when he was a kid, they had this thing called the cage or the pen, where the parents who brought their kids to the games could go drop their kids in the cage. And it was a cage. And I don't think there was like an overseer or lifeguard of these children. And he said the really daring boys would scale up across to the top of the cage, climb out the top, and then walk across this beam, a pole that was very narrow. And if they could do it and they'd get out, then they were out. And that everyone, the really daring boys, when the fans would watch these kids do this, and if they made it, they'd go, "Hey, hey, he's out."
That's amazing. It's a better time.
And
dude.
I think that if you didn't make it, you fell 10 feet onto the field or something as a 9-year-old. But that kind of bloodthirsty. The idea that anyone would have an issue with people swearing is unheard of.
Right.
You knew what you were
It's all on
signing
the
up
line,
for
yeah.
at the stadium when you brought your kid to a game.
Mhm.
Whereas we mingle fans. We have away fans sitting among home fans. I don't know. It's a very different. There's a different culture here.
Yeah.
And I
it's
guess
not quite as intense. It's like there's definitely some intense fans, but agreed, it's not like that. It's, you know what I mean? The guy crying about his team as much.
So
I'm
you
sure
don't
that exists, but
you don't think that there's any truth to the idea that if you're a parent and you bring your kid to a game, you know what you're getting yourself into. You should know what you should expect.
I think a little bit.
You're going to hear some swears. You're going to hear some bad behavior.
Yeah, I don't think you can expect people if the guy's allowed to do that, technically. Therefore,
Right.
your kid, you don't get to be like, "Hey, I'm here with my kid."
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
equally. It's almost worse, in my opinion, than the guy who's being a jackass.
Yes, but you did say initially that
I don't agree with it, but
right.
but I don't agree with telling him not to do it. Also,
So what's the answer then?
I don't think there is one. The only answer would be for the stadium to make a rule, which would be boring.
Yeah, they'll never do that.
Even though I don't want to be the guy with the face paint, yelling and swearing at the players, being disrespectful, not having that. We need those guys.
We do need those.
And
guys.
in a way, it's a bit of a novelty for the experience. Having the crazy guy who's shirtless in 10-degree weather,
Those are the spirit leaders.
wearing a flag.
Yeah.
He's wearing a flag as a cape.
He's furious at the refs if they miss one 50-50 call.
Come on!
Yeah. I remember, I went to a game one time with my dad, and this guy was with his son, his young son, and he was screaming at the refs the whole game.
Oh, my God.
Saying, "You want my kid's glasses?" Because this kid had glasses. This kid was like 7 years old. I'm like,
Timmy, give me your glasses.
this kid is going to need so much therapy.
Dad, I won't be able to see.
Yeah.
It'll be okay, son, because we're going to win.
Get off your knees, ref. You're blowing the game. Yelling that. I'm like, does this kid know what that means?
How have I never heard that one?
Pretty good one.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
That's a common. That's got to be common, right?
Not bad.
Pretty
Definitely
good.
not bad.
Dude, I was the victim of a pretty good micro prank, I would argue. I went to the wedding reception lunch for a very dear friend. The people who I used to live with when we started the pod. The daughter got married, and it was a really nice time. Anyway, their grandmother came from Lebanon, and I had met her in Lebanon one time, a decade or so ago. I don't know that she remembered me, but the father was. I was like, "Oh, we've met before, in Lebanon," and she maybe couldn't fully understand. And the dad starts explaining to the grandmother what I was saying, and he slid in a very funny prank, in my opinion. So he's speaking to her in Arabic. And he's being like, Allah, whatever, and then being like, Allah, not very smart. Allah. like going hard, like 4 or 5 like sentences in Arabic, then like not good looking.
Oh, that's funny.
That's pretty good.
That's funny.
That's pretty good. He has a lot of good ones.
Yeah, it's really good. He's ironed that bit out.
Totally, dude.
Because that takes skill.
Yeah,
To
to just
switch
pull
languages.
that out like that.
Yeah.
Not very
And
smart.
I'm sure he's telling her in Arabic the things that she actually needs to hear
Right, probably.
in between insulting you.
Dude, totally.
That's
totally.
pretty good. I
Yeah.
like that bit. That's a very good bit.
It was a pretty good bit.
Mhm.
Dude, yeah, I've had like a little bit of a hectic week, and like allergies are kicking my ass.
Mm.
Like I didn't sleep last night. I had the thing, like, do you ever have
Wow.
this thing where it feels like there's like a web just in your sinus cavity?
Maybe.
And you're like, if only I could just peel this web off, I would feel amazing.
Interesting.
But instead, I can't swallow or breathe.
Oof.
And
Yeah.
I slept on the couch for a period of time last night because being disgusting and loud and shit is worse than sleeping in your bed next to somebody.
And making them
If
deal
that makes
with
sense.
it.
I may have just said that confusingly.
No,
but,
I get it. I get what you're
you know,
saying.
I'd rather just be alone and be disgusting
Mm-hmm.
than be in a comfortable bed and have to subject her to that.
We had a bit of a breakthrough, I will say.
With allergies?
No, as far as our sleeping etiquette.
Oh, nice.
Sleeping etiquette. Ryan has been my major allergy combatant, and he's told me that I need to get ahead of it. That's his big refrain. You got to get ahead of it.
Uh-huh.
So I've been taking. I don't think I've been taking Benadryl. What's the one? Claritin.
Claritin Clear.
Proactively.
Nice.
I take it even if I'm not feeling the symptoms, just to start my day, like a multivitamin, and it's been helping, I think.
That's awesome.
But you know, I slept apart from Sierra for a week and did not find myself waking up in the middle of the night the way that I often do. And as soon as we rejoined and we're sleeping together again, it started back up. And it made me realize that she just she readjusts too violently. She's a thrasher of a readjuster.
I am too.
And I said to her very gently the next morning, I said, when I readjust in the middle of the night, I do everything I can to readjust with as little displacement of the bed as possible. I am very careful. A lot of the time, I will prop myself up on an elbow and then turn so that as little of my body is touching the bed or the covers as possible. And therefore, do you remember the scene in Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark where it's the opening scene and he's in some sort of a temple and he's trying to recover, yes,
Yeah.
a very
Valuable artifact.
an artifact, and he has a bag of sand, and he's trying to get the token, and he swaps them, and because he's determined that they weigh about the same, and he swaps them. That's what I'm going for, is to try to swap my body in position as quickly as possible.
That's good. That's nice.
And I said, do you think about that? Because it seems to me that when you're readjusting, it's almost like you're trying to send me a message. It feels almost as though you're mad at me and you want me to wake up and know that you're feeling this way. And she conveyed that she's not awake when she's doing that.
Interesting.
Which I didn't know. I didn't realize that she is in her sleep thrashing and switching positions.
She's fighting crime in her dreams.
And I said, well, we might consider a different bed type situation where, and by the way, I cannot suggest that we sleep in different beds. It's too upsetting to her. I've learned that.
Would you, if she was open to it, would you do it?
Well, I think what I would do is I would put 2 beds right next to each other. So that we can still sleep in the same bed, but that we benefit from not having shared covers, shared mattress.
But what if you like fall in the middle and shit?
I don't know that would happen.
Now you're just in a little ass bed. Then.
I'm fine with
You
that.
fine with that?
No, but this is. I mean, I slept in a little bed for the first 13 years of my life, and I
I
didn't
know,
just
bro.
fall off.
But you were much smaller then, dude.
Yeah, but if you're an adult now, have you slept in a single bed anytime
Yeah, it
recently?
sucks, dude.
Are you falling off of it though?
Like almost.
Come on,
Dude, in
No, you're
Afghanistan,
not.
there was a couple times where I almost fell out of my bed because it was small. And it wasn't like smaller than a normal twin bed or whatever. It was like a bed for one guy, and I almost fell out of it.
Interesting. Well, I say this. My suggestion was a king bed, but one where there are 2 mattresses within that king bed. So a king bed frame, king bed box spring, but with 2 fulls or 2 doubles or whatever pushed together, and maybe 2 different sets of covers.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very much in the same bed. We're in the same frame. We are maintaining that marital unity of bed, but we are not going to feel the tremors and the quivers. We're not registering on the seismograph when one of
Every
us
movement.
quakes. And she goes, "It's called a split king." And I said, "You already know about this?
Oh shit!
You've researched this?
That's like in a hotel.
And you didn't want to bring it to our attention as a solution?" And they have those at hotels?
I think so. Yeah. Like they'll have there's one sheet over 2 beds. I don't know.
I thought that sounded like a pretty good solution.
Yeah.
Because then you can have your cake and eat it too. You can do your cuddling, you can do your comforting, but when it's time for sleepies, you retire to your bed, your island, that is still connected to the other island via a very modern bridge.
Yeah. The seismograph is partitioned.
There is infrastructure to bring you to your partner's island, but you will not. If one island is bombed, you're not going to feel it on your other island.
That's good.
So I don't know. That was something that I thought we should look into.
That's pretty solid. Yeah, I feel bad. I'm a thrasher, and I'm awake a lot of the time, I think, and then maybe sometimes I'm not. And I think Hill Dog gets annoyed, and she'll say stuff. But she has her little things, too. I would say overall I'm more annoying in bed than her. But one thing she does, if she leans to her night table or whatever to grab water or whatever, as she does that, she brings the covers.
She's taking the covers. Dude, I do not understand this.
I hate it. Yeah, because I don't like...
I'm so conscious of that.
Yeah.
I'm so conscious of it. I create slack before I do it.
Dude, same. Like I'm just able to rotate within the space that I'm in, thus not moving the blanket. Instead of having to fully move, take it with me. The second I feel her doing it, I grab the side of my cover, passive aggressively, so that she knows what she's doing.
Lock it. You deserve that.
Because if I just let it happen, slowly, now the edge of the cover is in the center of my chest, and I go, "Are you?" And if I'm like, "Are you serious?" She goes, "What?"
Right.
I barely, and I'm like,
I don't understand.
Look at me.
This feels like
I'm
a
exposed.
blind spot for women. And I don't want to, I'm sorry to extrapolate along that big of a line, but it feels like it is something that universally they're missing as an awareness point, or that they feel like we deserve this because of who knows what. And I don't do it. I'm with you, man. It's as if she's never snuck out of bed before. Because I have had so many nights where I've said I'm not going to sleep and I'm giving up on this, but why take my partner down with me? So I'm going to get out of bed now, but once again in as non-disruptive a manner as possible. And there is a way to extricate oneself from the sheets and the duvet where you are moving as little as possible. I have so much practice with this.
Yeah.
Where even if I'm fetching something from the nightstand or I'm not actually withdrawing from the bed, I know how to manipulate the covers such that you would never know that I had not been there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know that I'd left or that anything. She wouldn't know. And I take pride in that, by the way. I consider that to be a skill.
Agreed. And it's not like a skill that can't be learned. You know what I mean?
Right.
It can be learned.
I almost think we need to do some drills.
Yeah.
I think we need to do some drills during waking hours.
Let's do it. We should do that.
I'm gonna yeah.
Write it down. Let's do it.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Dude, the other thing that she does, which is kind of funny, this doesn't bother me, but it is like technically annoying, but it's so cute to me that it's not annoying, if that makes sense. Like I'll wake up on a Saturday morning way before I'm about to wake up, just momentarily before I go back to sleep. And I'll kind of like flutter my eyes open, and she'll just be there wide awake being like, hi. Like she's thrilled that I'm awake because
That's
she's been
nice.
awake forever, and she's like, oh, finally, like a companion. And I think occasionally she will literally just be like
tap you.
like wake me up, and then by the time I wake up, she's far away.
Oh,
So I'm like,
there you are.
Yeah, hey, yeah.
I was wondering when you might join us.
it's pretty cute.
Yeah, that is
Um,
cute.
Dude, we had a little bit of a domestic squabble.
Mm.
I'm curious to hear your
Yeah.
thoughts on it.
A dom squab. Yep,
Domestic squabble.
those will happen.
So, dude, she will, like, I have my editing station set up on our table. Now, granted, and I try to be good about breaking it down when I'm not going to be using it for the next couple of days, or if there's people coming over, or if she needs to use a larger percentage of the table, whatever, right? But it is there. And occasionally she'll, like, she can be a little spilly. She's a little spilly. So it worries me that you have her around electronics with her with open water containers, glasses, whatever.
Mhm.
Even if it's on the edge of the table.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
she put a glass of water there in front, and it's fine. But then one day she put a hanger on top of my external hard drive. There was something on top of the hard drive,
Mhm.
and I sent her a photo of it, and she was like, "Oh, sorry, my bad. Like I was in a rush, whatever. No big deal." But she put her water bottle on the table, which is fine. But I'm still like, I don't want any water on the table at all.
Mhm.
So I didn't say anything, but I put the water, and it's a big water bottle. It's one of those water bottles that like you have. And the cover's off of it, but I moved it from the table to the floor. And she comes out and she's like, why is my water on the floor? I drink that.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, but like the open part of the bottle is not on the floor.
Right.
It's the same as it being on the table. The bottom of it, it's not on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, the mouth area is actually, nearly a foot above the floor.
Right. It's sterile. Yeah.
Therefore, I'm sorry, but I don't get why you don't want your water on the floor. And then we sort of like left it at that. But I was curious if you guys have thoughts on this.
I think I've noticed that ladies do not like things on the floor. I think there is a major, whereas I have no problem with the floor. In
Yeah.
fact, I find the floor inviting. I will use it as a surface. I will use it as a place to stretch. I will repose upon the floor. I have no problem being on the floor. I don't mind lying on the floor. Sometimes, one time, here's how this happens for us, is if a load of laundry is sitting in the dryer clean, and I need to put things in the dryer, I have no problem taking the clean clothes out of the dryer and putting them on the floor to, at least momentarily, and she thinks that somehow sullies that clean load of laundry. Even though to me the floor is clean.
Interesting.
We sweep the floor, we vacuum the floor. It's clean.
Mm,
I haven't undone the work of the laundry machine.
interesting.
So that's how that works for us. That's
Mhm.
caused some marital squabs before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to say to you about this.
Yeah.
I guess it almost feels Middle Eastern.
Of
feels-
her or of me?
Of her.
Oh, like, you should never have water on the floor.
The floor is insulting. It's
Right.
it's a class insult
Mm,
that, we do not put things on the floor. The floor is not for us. Or, it's like
It's an
a
ancient
cultural
thing.
practice
Yeah.
in a way. You know what I mean?
yeah. Oh, we got to dig deeper.
We should dig a little deeper on that.
Now, listen, she's a really great companion, and the fact that I'm even leaving my shit set up on the table for that long, and she's accepting that as a reality, like, I am fine with accommodating her things
Mhm.
because she's so accommodating to me, thrashing, and so it's fine. But I was just curious what you guys thought.
That's my take. I
Yeah.
don't know exactly.
We got a little.
Have we any facts with Ryan? Facts with Ryan. No denying facts with Ryan.
Were you gonna say email?
No.
Okay, never mind.
No, he was gonna say facts with Ryan. Facts with Ryan.
All right, we have a couple. Fredericksburg, Virginia is 59 feet above sea level,
Oh, that's nice.
and
think I know
assault
someone
is
from
one of the
there.
more serious violations a Canadian can commit, and is classified as a criminal act, which means it will be tried in court.
Wait, which one?
Assault.
Oh, assault.
In Canada.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to
Excellent,
know. Thanks for
excellent,
those two
excellent.
facts with Ryan. Facts with Ryan.
Facts with Ryan. Facts with Ryan.
Julio, you got any live comedy coming up?
I do. Thursday night, Boston. If there are any tickets left, grab those now. That is going to be a great show. Laugh Boston, Thursday night, May 25th. Then June 13th, I'm at Good Nights in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Nice.
June 14th, Zanies in Nashville.
Wow.
June 15th, The Punchline in Atlanta. Looking forward to all those shows, so grab those tickets. And then I'm at Vulcan Gas Company in Austin, July 14th, 2 shows. Get tickets on my website, notjulio.com. Got a bunch of other dates coming down the pipeline as well for the fall that you may or may not know about, so I'll keep you posted. And thank you for your support.
Awesome, dude. Those
What
are
about
some
you?
sick spots you're going to.
Thanks, dude.
I will be in Pittsburgh at the City Winery on June 8th and 9th. Then I will be in Tacoma, Seattle at Tacoma Comedy Club. And then Spokane. I've learned it's Spokane, not Spokane. That's going to be July, I think, 19th and 20th. And then in the fall, I'll be in Boston, DC, Providence, Toronto, and some other spots. So all of that coming up, but the immediate one is Pittsburgh. I've never been to Pittsburgh. I can't wait. That's June 8th and 9th, City Winery. Tickets at francisells.com. We are Oops the Podcast. We appreciate you. Got some merch coming out. Follow our YouTube channel, please, as well as our other socials. We got Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all the good stuff. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you soon.